Here.
Beautiful. Okay. Bring the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Bennett is absent. Mrs. Eckerd?
Here.
Mr. Franco?
Here.
Mrs. Goebel?
Here.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Here.
Dr. Probola?
Here.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Farr?
Here.
Mrs. Arnold?
Here. Superintendent's remarks.
Thank you. Happy spring, Tiger families. I'm sure we're all excited for spring to begin. I'm hopeful that the weather will change soon. Our spring sports seasons, they're in full swing, but so far, it's been less than ideal. I want to start out by thanking Dr. Bill Probola, who's with us via Zoom tonight, and the Tiger Fund for Excellence Board. Their recent fundraising gala was a huge success, and those funds will be used for dynamic, extra, and co-curricular supplies and projects. It was such a great night. Excuse me. The opportunities that are funded by the Tiger Fund make such a positive impact on our students. Our Tigers, overall, have been red hot for the last month, the last 6 weeks. Our girls swim team won their first ever district team championship, district title. That was huge. Coach Aiken is our first year girls coach. He is in his first year, he's a district champion. Congratulations, Coach Aiken. And our boys came in second. Like how awesome is that? How exciting is that? We have such a top-tier swim program. We really do. We send kids to the state championships every year. Additionally, Sammy Rohrig won an individual gold in the districts in the 50 free, and two of our divers, Noelle Alguire and River Strauss, brought home individual district championships, brought them back to Tunkhannock. So we had a very successful swim season. We brought home another district title. This time, this one in wrestling, as Taylor Daniels took individual gold district championship in wrestling. Our robotics team is ridiculous this year. Our robotics team blew away the competition at a recent tournament in Mount Olive, New Jersey. And I mean, everybody knows about our music program. Our band and choral students qualified and will be attending state-level PMEA competitions coming up. We had so many students, many students, recognized at a recent art show at Luzerne County Community College. Our district art program is strong, very strong. Our teachers are outstanding, and our students are talented. That makes for a real good combination. In a recent high school math competition held at Wilkes University, we came in first. Our team came in first. In fact, every one of our students finished in the top 14 overall. And Aiden West finished first overall, which qualified him to receive a full tuition scholarship at Wilkes University. So congratulations, Aiden, and congratulations to our math team. Their advisor, Mr. Kaiser, reported that Wilkes University, their professors, were impressed with all of our students. And so great job, math team. Great job, Mr. Kaiser. We also recently found out that we had 3 seniors, Sammy Rohrig again, Madison DeGilio, and Olivia Myers, were recognized as scholastic superstars by the Citizens' Voice. That is a huge achievement. They only picked 25 students throughout the entire region, and we have 3. So that's outstanding. Like I said, we've been red hot. I'm so proud of our students, their teachers, their coaches, and their advisors. You know, as the school year winds down, I want all of our parents to make sure you're checking in with your child's school and our district social media pages. We have so many events planned over the next few months. One event I'd like to highlight, and I want the board to also take note because we want you there, upcoming event is Donkey Basketball is coming back to Tunkhannock after a hiatus. Our FFA program is putting on this event here at the high school on Friday, April 12th at 6 p.m. There's already teams from the PC. There's a team from the IC. Ms. Cauldron, are you on the IC team?
No, I'm not. Not
And there's a team from the high school. More importantly, Mr. Winsek, are you on the team?
No, he's putting the donkey on his back. Right.
We also have a team of local law enforcement and Triton members that are going to be playing as a team. So I know it's going to be a funny night. I don't know how else to say it. Tickets will be available at the door. They're available in advance, but they're also available at the door. And every nickel that is collected will go directly to the FFA program, so please consider coming out and support our FFA students. So as you can see, it's been a very, very busy. Our students have been excelling. I say it often, but it's worth repeating. We have a high-quality school district that provides beneficial and dynamic experiences for students. I'm so, so proud to be a Tiger. And as always, thank you for the opportunity to address our community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you'll see, well, before we get to that, do we have any public comments on agenda items?
I saw they're going to be voting on solar tonight. I was just wondering, when did it come down to option 6A? I don't remember. Last I remembered, there was 2 options on the table. I've got a couple questions, and then I'll sit and let you answer them. And then there was another thing that I had talked to some administrators about, string inverters instead of one big inverter. They're smaller, and if they go down, you can keep extras here, and they're replaceable. Battery backup. This goes along with, do you know the definition of the duckback syndrome with solar? And I had asked for information on East Lycoming School District in Hughesville, and I haven't heard nothing back yet from that. And there is a nice system sitting down on the Harveys Lake Highway there. I think it belongs to College Misericordia. Anybody look into that by chance? But the duckback system is out in California and some of these other states, they're knocking back on people putting in solar because there's so much solar going in without battery backup. It's doing so much daytime, the power companies are backing way down, and as soon as it gets dark, they're trying to keep stable electricity, and they're cutting back because they can't keep up with it. At least with the battery backup, it's charging, and then you're using it at night, and the prices between what you're selling it for and what you're having to buy it back is getting a bigger split in them. So these are just some of my concerns. I mean, I've probably done as much or more details on this solar stuff than a lot of them. So I just had some questions, see where it goes.
Thanks, Bill. We'll have more discussion about that when we get to that item. Any other public comment on agenda items? Okay. Item 5, enrollments are there on pages 7 and 8 for everybody's information. We have not gotten back up to 3,000 yet in the last month, so,
3,000?
Oh yeah, I said that way on purpose. Like the 1993 numbers. Any discussion on enrollments? Okay, item 6, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Pavola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Item number 7, business and finance. Do we have a motion to approve items 1 through 6?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick?
Yes.
Dr. Pavola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Superintendent's report. It was brought to my attention that we have 2 board members on the volunteer list, so should we split the volunteers off from the rest, or?
I don't know if that's going to be necessary.
All right, we'll give it a
I mean, it's up
college
to,
try.
I mean, whatever you think.
I mean, I'm voting against them so hard, it's not even gonna be funny, but we can try it.
All right, I think it's okay to move forward. I'd like to recommend a resolution be adopted approving the personnel report as presented. 2 things I'd like to point out is that longtime employee and IT director Joe Cormus is on here for your consideration for retirement. And if you accept that, that'll certainly be a big loss for our school district. I'd also like to point out that Sawyer Aiken, who I just acknowledged, is on the report to be appointed as a physical education teacher, and it's with great confidence that he has my vote of confidence on that. So I hope you'll consider that.
Do we have a motion?
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a couple quick things. First of all, I wanted to read Joe's letter that he sent to the board about his retirement. So just real quick, after serious consideration and recent health issues, I'm informing you of my intent to retire during the school year. I'll be utilizing my remaining days, resulting in a retirement of October 8, 2024. I was truly blessed to work with some incredible people for over 20 years. I have seen board members come and go and remain friends with several of them to this day. I've made many friends in Wyoming County and will always be a part of Tunkanak's community. My family and I would also like to thank everyone for all your support during the loss of my amazing and beautiful wife, Myung. The turnout she had at her celebration of life was heartfelt and will never be forgotten. If I could be remembered for one thing at Tunkanak, it would be that I always treated people with kindness and respect. Thank you for all being a part of my journey, and it's now time for me to start chapter 2. So, Joe, you'll be missed. I appreciate all of your contributions over the 20 years. Just as a side story, Joe worked with my mom in Wyalusing, and they became very good friends together, and so the family connection continued for more than a couple of years. So that was real quick on Joe. I want to congratulate Sawyer Aiken for being hired full-time in Tunkanak. It's wonderful to see a long-term sub get a chance to shine in a district, and so I want to thank you for being part of a lot of the activities. So it's nice to see a young teacher really get involved in things, and you really dove head first.
Well, he had no choice. They shaved his head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
One quick little side story. My first day as a board member, I came in and PJ O'Shea gave me my tour and my guidance of what the budget looked like and things like that. And I went down to Joe's office, and the first thing that came out of my mouth, because I knew everything at that moment, was, yeah, we've got to do something about this Act 93 contract. Like, there's some problems with that. And Joe's like, well, why don't you have a seat? Because I actually am the chair of the Act 93. And that was just one of the first of many times I ate my words on this board. But from that moment, he's always just so happy to sit down and take as long as it needs to explain to you how wrong you are. But he's also probably right about it most of the time. So thanks, Joe.
Joe was a pleasure. Definitely was. Pleasure to work with, pleasure to have as an employee. I know Sawyer's going to be a great employee too. I can't vote for you though. I'm on the list.
Yeah, I have to abstain as well because I'm on the volunteer list. So.
All right.
If you want to split out the volunteers just so they can have the,
Oh, no, let them abstain. That's fine. All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Abstain.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Abstain.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Congratulations to Joe and Sawyer, congratulations. We're thrilled to have you on board officially. I'd like to recommend a resolution be adopted approving the following conference attendances.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik?
Yes.
Dr. Perbola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Committee reports. I don't believe we've had any committee meetings. Well, except for the support staff negotiations team. We don't have a contract yet, right? So,
Nope,
spoiler
we
alert. Any other committees need to meet or need to report out? Okay. Seeing none, we have unfinished business. Item 1, motion to approve an agreement with Greenworks Development for the installation of a solar project on the buildings and grounds of Tunkhannock Area School District property at a cost of $10,155,768. The contract will be finalized with Greenworks after final review by the district's legal representative, McNeese Walls and Nurek, LLC. A significant portion of the project cost will be offset by a federal solar credit. The project will also include financing and a down payment not to exceed $2 million.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Bill, just to your questions, just a couple things on that is we did hire a legal firm that does solar review to verify the numbers that were presented, and they thought that what Greenworks had presented was actually conservative. It's the same firm that Procter & Gamble uses to evaluate their energy projects. And so I recognize that none of us on this board are experts in solar, which is why we brought in an expert to do that review, because it is a huge expenditure. If everything plays out the way that it's projected to, if it's a $10 million project, at a minimum, it looks like we'll get $4 million of that back through state grants. And then there's some additional things we're working to try to maybe even lower that a little bit further. So I think it puts us in a pretty strong position. And last I knew our energy consumption costs were about $1 million a year. And so out-of-pocket costs end up being, let's call it $6 million. And so, there's time value of money to consider there, but straight line projections, it pays off in 6 years. And that doesn't include any of the SREC income credits, which there's some legislation pending now that could make that go significantly higher than we projected. So net, I think we're in a pretty strong position. I do recognize some of the issues you brought up, depending on the states you're in and where, California is significantly more built out on energy, on the solar energy than we are. So there's some things out there that could change over time, which is why when I'm looking at the numbers, we're in a position where I think this thing pays back in 5 to 7 years, depending on the assumptions. And if things go really well, solar life should last us 30 to 40 years. So we end up with a really significant savings for our taxpayers at the end of this, I believe. But I do reckon, none of us up here are experts on solar, which is why we brought that expert in to do the review for us.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Osherek?
Yes.
Dr. Pavola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. Under new business, number 1, motion to approve a revision to the salary contract language for the superintendent, contract dated 2/21/22 through 6/30/26, and the COO, contract dated 7/1/22 through 6/30/27, to align with the salary language in the current Act 93 agreement.
Motion to approve. Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Pavola?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd?
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel?
Yes.
Dr. Osherek?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes. The next 3 items are there for, 4 technically, are there for your reading pleasure. We have the update on the right to know request on page 71, the TASD visa account on pages 72 to 74, the summary of Kelly Services substitute teacher fill rate from 75 to 76, and then we have the first reading of 3 policies, number 202 for eligibility of non-resident students, 903 public comment and board meetings. What we did there is we took out the discussion part about the municipality having to be identified due to court cases that have been out there, and number 907 for school visitors. So there's none of those things that need to have any kind of motions or votes. Is there any discussion on any of those things?
2 of those policies are what we pulled last time.
Yeah.
Just because as we were here at the board meeting, I noticed 2 things that were differing from our previous policies, so I went back.
And there's nothing substantive.
No.
Right.
No. No, in fact, it's perfectly in line with our previous policies. It's
Great.
just updated for language.
Excellent. All right. Moving along, item number 6, recommend that a resolution be adopted approving the independent audit report of Murphy, Doherty and Company for the 22-23 school year.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 7,
I
motion.
would comment
Oh,
that
sorry.
we are in very strong position with that report.
Yeah, we should have dug that under the comment section, but I want to thank the finance team for coming up and the audit came through without any red flags or items to follow up on. So I want to thank leadership of the district.
Thank you.
The whole team, Chuck, Paul, and obviously Christine behind the scenes really doing the heavy lifting on that stuff. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, motion, number 7, motion to approve the 30-day public review of the draft of the 24 to 27 K-12 Guidance 339 plan.
339 plans are required for the state, so we're not actually approving the plan tonight. We're approving that we could put it out for public review, the draft copy.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. I'd like to take items 8 and 9 together. Is anybody opposed? They're both bus contract related.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, motion to approve item 8, motion to approve bus van contracts as presented, and then item 9, motion to remove Robert Bennett and add Vicki Bennett to the bus contract currently held by Jeffrey and Robert Bennett. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Let's approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 10, motion to approve overnight field trips as follows. And there's a list: PMEA for band, PMEA for chorus, robotics, and robotics depending on qualifying.
The first robotics one there is the state championships, and depending on how we do, the next week we could be going to Houston. So we just put it on there for your tentative approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Farr.
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 11, motion to approve the settlement agreement and release between Tunkhannock Area School District and student ID 011027008.
Motion to approve? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 12, motion to approve a $6,000 donation from the LCBC Clark Summit Church to support the Intermediate Center Classroom Closet and School Store. The donation will be used as follows: $3,000 in the classroom closet, which provides essential supplies for students in need, and $3,000 for the school store, which provides reinforcement for positive behavior. You know what I mean.
Motion to approve? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. O'Sherrick,
Yes.
Dr. Repola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckert,
Yep.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Thank you to the LCBC and Clark Summit.
Absolutely. They do great things. They provide a lot. We have the nice school store, the 100% off store, I think it's sometimes referred to. But they, at the IC, they do a lot for our students, and we really appreciate the support by LCBC Clark Summit.
Excellent. Item 13, motion to approve budget transfers is listed for the Intermediate Center, High School, and Maintenance.
Motion to approve? Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Number 14, motion to approve contracts and purchases as follows. In sum, they are the Sherwood Chevrolet for the purchase of a plow truck, CM Eichen Lob to replace bleacher seats at the IC, the LJC janitorial distributors for a ride-on auto scrubber, and Datum Products for the completion of a summer asbestos maintenance program.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a second? Any discussion?
Wait, I have a quick question. What is the maintenance, this asbestos maintenance program? What is this? I wonder what that is.
John, will you come up?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear exactly
I'm
what
sorry,
you
I
asked.
said, what is our
Asbestos maintenance
summer
program.
asbestos maintenance program?
Yeah, so we're doing removal of floor tile in the high school, and there are a few pipe fittings that we have to remove down at the admin building.
Is it like on every summer we do a portion to
We're gonna-
eventually get
we're
rid
gonna
of
do
all
a
of
s-
it? Is that the plan?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for the fact that this stuff is planned, budgeted, it comes out, you know, we're staying on top of these things. It's been, at least for me, very comforting knowing that our buildings and grounds are being looked over like this, because there have been a lot less emergencies that have landed on our table over the last several years, you know, outside of COVID, right? But that it's noticed and appreciated.
Thank you.
We had a motion and a second? Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Eckerd,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik,
Yes.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 15, motion to approve application for payment number 3 to Scranton Electric Heating and Cooling in the amount of $100,376 for mechanical construction at the Intermediate Center and High School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
And what was this one for? I'm sorry, I mean, I know what it says, but this is for the,
Exactly.
oh, okay, yep, I got it, thank you.
project.
The project that we were on, yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckerd,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik,
Yes.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Item 16, motion to approve the removal of obsolete playground equipment at the Mahogany Building. This equipment holds no value, nor is it used by students. Do we have a motion and a second? And then if there's questions, we can ask.
Motion to approve?
Second.
So the equipment, is there any use for donation or recycling or any other purpose?
I'll defer. John, do you want to?
Yeah, so the equipment that's,
I saw that.
Wow.
We have a safety learning opportunity program. I think we need to have electrocution. We're going to get sued for that. Someone's going to come up here to give public comment and get electrocuted.
Get the eraser. No accidents for 0 days.
yeah.
Holy moly.
So,
about that?
yeah, so the equipment at Mahogany, we removed during consolidation pretty much everything that was usable at that time, and it was relocated to the IC. What's left is, it's pretty much unusable, and it has not been upkept, nor have the grounds around it been upkept, so it can't be used up there at all.
Okay.
All right?
It's worth noting too, our risk management walkthrough identified this as a need to remove this stuff for liability issues.
Right, because some random kid that lives around there.
Correct,
With
yeah.
injury. Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Eckerd,
Yes.
Mr. Franco,
Yes.
Mrs. Goebel,
Yes.
Dr. Oshirik,
Yes.
Dr. Perbola,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold.
Yes. Do we have any additional public comments?
I have a question.
Any additional board comments?
Okay, I have a question for Paul. the money that we just approved from the donation for the closet in the IC, from the LBI, whatever it was.
LCBC, yeah.
What exactly is the group? Like
It's-
what?
It's a
how are they-
church.
It's a church.
It's a church at Clark Summit.
Oh,
LCBC
and
is a
they
church.
Are they, how are they, well, it's in Clark Summit, that's why I was wondering,
They,
like, what's the
they have
connection?
missions,
They-
things that they do around schools all
This
around.
is, yeah, this isn't unique to
Large
us. They're
church.
very generous to many school
And it's
districts.
literally just outreach, it's literally like outreach for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Like Nicole, what is the,
Don't
Stands for Lancaster County Bible Church, and it's actually, it was founded in Manheim. It's a large campus in Manheim, and they have campuses all over Pennsylvania, Ephrata, Clark Summit, and their mission is to donate, and they raise money, and they benefit the schools in their surrounding counties and where they are throughout the state. So they've just been a huge
what do you
asset to
do
us.
with, like, what kind of, could you give us an example of what gets purchased with, or what the materials are?
Absolutely. The clothes closet, obviously, you guys are familiar with that. We constantly are filling that with sneakers and coats and clothes and sweatpants. And, if kids are in need, they actually, even school supplies and shoes and winter boots and winter coats and hats, and so socks, from everything. I mean, if a kid needs something, we usually have, the whole closet is full. I welcome any of you to come visit it. It is always overflowing with donations and clothes, and that helps us continue to restock it. The school store is something new that I implemented halfway through this school year that I want to make even stronger and better next year. And our students are earning Tiger Cash, which is given out by teachers and paras and administration if we catch kids doing Tiger Pride, representing Pride, and each, I can't, off the top of my head, cannot remember, but they each stand for PRIDE. They all stand for something, and we've encouraged our kids to work hard to be caught doing right and doing good, and they earn Tiger Cash for a variety of things in class, in the halls, at lunch, and the kids are excited. Once every 7 days, that grade level gets to go to the store and spend their Tiger Cash, and it's teaching them responsibility. Our kids are having to save up their money, and they choose to either spend it right away or save it for a while to get a bigger item. We have sweatshirts and hats, Tiger gear that was donated, and then the money that is coming in now, we're going to be able to buy even bigger and better things for kids to be, again, earning that Tiger Cash and being able to just positive reinforcement, behavior reinforcement for the entire school. So we're very excited to have this donation.
It's like the counter at Chuck E. Cheese, except nicer stuff.
100%.
You know, like you earn
It
the
is.
tickets or
It's
the
pretty much
tokens and-
turn in your tickets kind of thing at Chuck
I
E.
just was
Cheese,
trying to
yeah.
figure out what the funding, what the connection was for
They've,
Clark Summit.
yeah,
so
they've
that was-
given, they give just about every year, they give some, they donate something. I think that they've done coats for whoever needed them
They
before
have,
and
yeah.
stuff
Even
like that.
prior to me getting here, they have been a huge, Ms. Crispin and some of our other contacts in the building have some connections with LCBC Clark Summit, and they've just always been a huge asset. They actually donated money last year for us to redo our teacher lounges, and we were able to kind of give back to our teachers, and that was what they wanted to do. So we were very excited
and
to do that.
in my previous position, when I was an administrator as a school, like I had 800, some odd kids in my building. They came in and gave a coat to every single student. And then another year they provided like sneakers for every student. And it was the same organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would be remiss if I did not announce that we had an executive session prior to this meeting. Apologies for missing this at opening. The topics were an informational workshop regarding the 22-23 independent audit and personnel matters related to specific staff.
Holly, can I have something to say if I can real quick.
Always.
You're wonderful. I just want to dovetail on what Paul said about the Tiger Fund. On March 2nd, the checks are still coming in, but we're upwards of about $72,000. I want to thank the community. I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank the donors. I had a fantastic time. I know there were many community members there, and I think everybody had a blast. I thought it was a great turnout, and we'll have a better idea of the net profits next month. But as Paul said, the Tiger Fund does fund a lot of different STEM, co-curricular, extracurricular projects and programs in the district. And I just wanted to thank the community. Thank you very much.
Any other comment?
The most recent comment, or the most recent project is Meat Birds, our FFA at the high school.
In case you like to meet your dinner first, no pun
In case you would
intended.
like to meet your dinner, they, built a chicken coop, and we are raising chickens, our FFA, and they're going to be processed and sold. And that was put together by the Tiger Fund. Meat Birds.
Meat birds. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.